Yeah, so, you know, Evelyn is just a nasty champ to go against regardless. I don't recall Z-Type playing Evelyn, but it's really not that surprising. And Jace, you know, we've seen IG play Jace in all 3 lanes, so as support, as mid, and as top. So, you know, that's definitely going to be a strong pick for them.
Yeah, I'm looking,
But we'll see where they go. Usually, I would be kind of curious whether or not they're going to ban Maokai or Nocturne, though, because those are the go-to junglers for Illusion. And we really saw that IG, they played Maokai mid AP Maokai, but they've also played him in the jungle. And they go for those really aggressive ganks in the mid. Usually, Illusion, he plays Nocturne and Shyvana. Those are the common picks that we've seen a lot of from him. And you know, he's been able to, I don't know, use that early jungling speed advantage to be very aggressive in the mid lane in particular. He really focuses on that mid lane a lot of times and tries to snowball that lane.
And
there's the Maokai ban.
There is.
That's definitely a strong ban.
There is, but I'm wondering, though, you're leaving another one of Invictus's big junglers, too, though, is Skarner. He's been using it quite a bit lately. He's one of their favorite picks. They also play quite a bit of Yorick. Yep. As well, which actually synergizes very well with a lot of their game plan.
Yeah, PDD's Yorick is very strong. He likes going those safe sustain lanes that he can just kind of solo off on the side, because they like putting a lot of pressure on the mid lane and also the bottom lane. We've seen a number of times in the past they go for really aggressive tower dives. You know, they ran the Jarvan and Swain comp. They would go for really aggressive stuff. That was more in the top lane, so they could potentially go for something aggressive in the top lane, but against a Shen, that's probably not going to happen. So against a Shen, probably going to see a Vladimir, but we'll see where they go. Ezreal and Sona make sense for their first pickups, though. Oh, I'm sorry, Ezreal's banned. So you know, we'll see what they pick as their AD. Probably like a Corki or something, and I don't know, we've seen them go Leona in the past, but Leona really combos best with Ezreal, so you know, Sona's an incredibly strong support as well.
Yeah, Ezreal and Shen are also among 2 of the most played champs on IG's roster, but they decided, you know, let's ban out the Ezreal. They're going to pick either Shen or Ezreal first pick, so if we ban one of them out, we kind of lock them into it. So I'm wondering if IG has some sort of game plan. Maybe it's just like, oh, we'll let them have Shen. We have something else up our sleeve, maybe.
Well, they probably have some sort of understanding that, or one, this is a NA team that hasn't had a lot of success. They've looked really strong at times in the past, but they're not a very old team, and they haven't really established themselves. Maybe they even recognize that they have a sub, so in their minds, they're like, well, Ezreal is the easiest AD in the game. They're going to first pick Ezreal. Everyone first picks Ezreal, so you can ban it against most teams. So, you know, it's a safe ban for them. CLG.Black actually going for Graves and Lulu, which is interesting. They might go for a lane swap out of that, and that's one of the most aggressive pushing lanes in the game. It's very good at, you know, 2v2s, but also 2v1s, bullying people around. So that should be kind of interesting to see what CLG.Black's going to do.
Yes, you are definitely right on the aggression there, because with those glitter lances, you get that slow. You got Graves.
It's awesome.
It's so bad. It's just you already has the built-in attack speed steroid, and to mix it with a slow like that is just so brutal, so absolutely brutal. But Nocturne, quick pick, locked, slammed down. He will be in the jungle here for IG, and it does kind of fit with that kind of stick it to him aggressive style too, very much like Skarner does. You know, he tries to get the impale, but Nocturne's going to be in the middle of all those fights, being a nice little distraction, and get Vlad in to get all of that damage too. Wow.
And the interesting thing with Illusion when we've seen him play is a lot of times you see Nocturne kind of passively farm, try and get those levels quickly. But Illusion, he actually goes for really aggressive ganks really early in the game, not even trying to get 6. He'll roam, try and pick up early advantages, levels 3, levels 4, 5. Which usually kind of puts you behind on Nocturne, but he has the jungling speed that it's not that much of an issue. So that's going to be pretty cool to see. They do go with Vayne, though, and that's interesting. I don't remember if we had seen Kid play Vayne in the past.
I'm looking it up real quick. I'm looking it up as quick as I can. I got it. I got this. We'll see. But actually, I've been playing, I played a little bit of solo. Vayne's popularity is kind of like back up on the rise once again. You know, you get those Dorans, you get that quick zeal, and that's plenty to lead you out through the early game.
I actually thought there was a long time ago, right before the rise of Kog'Maw, and then it transitioned into the mobility AD carries, where Caitlyn and Caitlyn and a couple of the AD carries, Ashe, were all nerfed pretty significantly. Corki was among them. And I thought as a result, Vayne would become really popular because a couple of people like Double Lift have played Vayne, and her late game carrying potential is just so strong. But her mechanics, it's actually really difficult to get off going with her. You know, her early game can be really a struggle. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Vladimir and Skarner going for CLG.Black. So they have actually a really cool core team right now. And Karthus can be extremely, aggressive against the rest of IG because the Lulu helps to support him a little bit. Skarner, he's going to help support Karthus, and Skarner just has enough control that he won't allow Nocturne to take that much of an advantage. That's a really strong pick for them.
Yeah, but this last pick, Rengar, though.
Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that we hadn't seen the Rengar a little bit earlier on.
I'm kind of shocked. Well, actually, there's still a lot of flexibility though coming in from IG's team though, because Vlad he can still go mid or top. He can do either or. So right now IG, Z-Ty's thinking about something that will actually mesh. Well, do I want to switch it up top lane? Do you want our AP mid, or not even an AP mid? Do I want a mid champ? We just may see another AD mid coming in.
I actually wouldn't be that surprised to see Cassiopeia here, but there's a couple of options for them. Zillion definitely works. I actually don't know if I've seen IG play Zillion, but maybe taking a little bit off of M5. And I think M5 actually played Zillion against IG. I know Alex Itch plays a lot of Zillion and has in the past, but it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that works. And Zillion does have a pretty favorable matchup versus Karthus. In the World Championships, I mean.
Yeah.
So Zillion does have a favorable matchup there, but I was kind of curious. He does play, Z-Ty does play a lot of Cassiopeia, and Cassiopeia does very well against Karthus. It's kind of a skill matchup, but also versus the short-range team, Cassiopeia can just wreck Karthus and Graves in particular in those team fights. But, well, it is going to be nice for them. Zillion is very safe in the mid lane. Karthus, you kind of know when you're going to die. So against those kind of champions that have, that... I don't know, clear burst where they signal, and like the Karthus ultimate. He signals the Karthus ultimate, you throw up your Zillion ultimate, no big deal.
Done. So,
it's going to be going to work out for them. It also combos pretty well with a frontline champion like Vladimir, so he can be really aggressive.
Yes, and while he does work very well in the mid, though, it was like Zillion is like, okay, I'm going to pick this champ, I'm going to go mid, and I'm going to win mid. Team fight, ult, and a bomb, or two, maybe.
Yeah,
that's the problem with Zillion though, is that he is a very dominant laner, but once the team fights break out, he kind of does this like weird transition, into a support carry. Right. But you do have the right ultimate targets, and you have plenty of them. Nocturne, Vlad, and Vayne are all fantastic targets for that Chrono Shift.
And the key is getting a second reset on the bombs for Zillion, because the first one, you get the double bomb, you do a little bit of damage, but really nowhere near as significant as most other AP carries. You're not getting quite the same damage output, but once you get the second cooldown on your bombs, then you're starting to really help your team, because then that also means you've gotten 3 procs off of your movement speed, so the slow or speed boost. So that's going to be huge. And then the Zillion ult, it can just change fights, particularly when you already have a lot of damage, and they have that damage in both Vayne and Vladimir. So Zillion doesn't really need to have that damage. He can play more of that support role because as a team they already make up for it. So it's going to be kind of an interesting situation. And CLG.Black, they have two globals. So 2 globals versus the Nocturne. They can try and bully them around early. I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, let's take a look actually at Z-Ty first here. I want to see what he's running here. Rune-wise, you got some mana regen, which you so sorely need on Zillion. I'm surprised they aren't flats, though, but you still got the masteries to back it up, 2109, because those bombs are pretty effing expensive very early on. He's also got a little bit there in attack damage just to help out with the last hits. Not a whole lot. And right here, whoa,
that's interesting.
Interesting.
So Link, and he running is that it? Yes, awareness. So
11% increase on total on XP, I believe.
And Link is a very talented mid laner. It's kind of interesting. Karthus, he's a strong mid laner. We've seen him, World Championships, Karthus was played, a pretty significant number of the games. He's kind of just sit back and farm, and eventually you win the game. Your AoE is just too much to deal with. But that's intriguing. He has 5%, 11% XP bonus. So I think the concern is that Zillion is such an aggressive laner he doesn't want to fall behind. And I don't know, that's really going to be key for him to get in that lane.
Yeah.
Cruiser, on the other hand, he's running some HP regen, some physical damage, and then 9-21-0, so that's going to allow him to be very aggressive against Vladimir. And Vladimir does lose that matchup against Shen. You know, Shen, if he gets off to a really good start, he can really bully around Vladimir, but usually it's a pretty even matchup. Vladimir loses slightly early on, but then, you know, Vladimir can just kind of sustain farm. And that's kind of what Vladimir does against a lot of bruisers is, you know, maybe you lose slightly early on, but once you get into your item build, it's not that big of a deal.
Yep,
Particularly if you go double Dorans, the armor and health that you get from double Dorans can just completely shut down any physical damage.
And wonderful pickup of that too. Just, you know, go actually, like the top lane on its own. Just so many champs can do that too. Like I remember, that's what I used to do on like Rumble for forever even.
Yeah, no, that's a very common pick. It's or a very common item choice. It's a really strong pick.
And also, it looks like we're going to be having Zuna taking over the AD role here with Hoodstomp now no longer playing. So that is Cruiser the Bruiser, former Legion member, coming now in to sub in for CLG.Black. Not quite sure if he is a permanent addition to the team, but we'll see how well he does here. Yeah, Zuna making the transition from the jungle.
Yeah,
And,
I knew he had jungled, so that's kind of surprising to me to see that switch into that or AD role.
Yeah, so Psycho Sid coming from top. So Cruiser coming into top lane. Sid going from top into jungle, and Zuna going from jungle into the AD role.
And then particularly since Psycho Sid, like you said, he was the top lane. You know, jungle, you don't need to be that mechanically fit. That's what a lot of the junglers say. You know, whenever you interview the junglers, why did you start playing jungle? And it's like, well, my mechanics sucked.
That's why I did it. That's why I did it.
I didn't enjoy, or I wasn't that great at positioning or whatnot. So I was kind of like, whatever, I'll jungle for my team. And, you know, it really adds a lot of strategy elements. Yes, there's a lot of good mechanics in the jungle when you come into team fights, but top lane is probably the most mechanically intensive of the lanes. And as a result, it's actually pretty common a lot of times to see top laners move down to AD. Kevin for SK, he did it for a little bit, and he was very strong. Balls on Mono.Ferus, he did it for a little bit, and he was actually very strong as well. He looked really strong in that AD role. Wild Turtle, he's actually an AD. He's not on any teams right now, but he's an AD by role, but originally with Dynamic, he was a top laner. So
Dynamic is a top laner. Sub for Legion is a mid. Wild Turtle's like looking to be like the next Atlanta. Like I love to see what comes out from it. And didn't Wild Turtle actually
Don't wish him that. Atlanta's not playing with anyone right now. Atlanta's a great guy, but he's not on a team.
But didn't Wild Turtle sub in for CLG.Black?
Yes, he did.
MLG.
It was at MLG. Yeah, he subbed in at mid for them. Legion was there as well, and CLG.Black actually did fairly well in that tournament. But so it is kind of interesting to me that Zuna is moving into that AD role. But we'll kind of see how Zuna does. I don't know. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what CLG.Black can do here.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm kind of confused. I'm wondering why Wild Turtle isn't actually in here subbing in. But you know, it's Cruisers here for now. There's still plenty of time. You know, when teams have someone drop, it's not too uncommon for them to just work out a few picks. Like, hey, play this qualifier. We'll see how you perform. We'll see how you do. And also, this is also somewhat advantageous for CLG.Black also because IG, as far as they were concerned during the last qualifier, like this was essentially a stomp.
Yeah.
We did not stream this match because it was around the 32. But
it was actually a 2-1, wasn't it?
I thought it was a 2-0.
Oh, 2-0. Well, maybe not. Yeah, so 2-0.
Yeah.
IG did stomp then.
So right now they're like, okay, now everything's changed up. They have a new member. People are changing positions. They're not quite sure what to expect here.
And who knows? Maybe IG, they're used to that nice LAN ping. They're used to the World Championship, sitting in their comfy seats.
Oh, you can't get comfortable. You cannot get comfortable.
So, maybe they're not going to be as prepared as they normally are here. But right off the bat, you can see CLG.Black, they thought that, IG thought that CLG.Black was going to go for the lane swap. And we talked about that in the Champ Select, how Graves and Lulu is one of the most common lanes for swapping. It's a really aggressive swap lane because you look to push the tower very aggressively. Shen, he's not the best 1v2er, but he's very safe in it. You can use those Vorpal Blades and farm. So IG actually swapped, I think, because they thought that was going to be occurring. And they're actually going to be in for, pleasant surprise, at least on their end, because they're going to have a nice time up top. Though it will potentially set PDD behind, though we have seen PDD swap into that bot lane in the past.
Kid and Zhao are peeking on into the blue buff area on their way back up to top lane here. for the swap. Vlad coming down bot lane, so PD's going to have a little bit of a rough time, gets slowed here by the Glitter Lance and comes on out. And there's Z-Tai in the mid. No fear up against Link, but then again, he is only level 1. He does not have that AoE quite yet, but he gets very low, but does manage to get that level up on him first, despite Link having that extra 11% experience gain.
Yeah, and already off the bat, both of the top laners being swapped out of their
Link's
role.
getting pretty low, though. First blood coming in with a time bomb right underneath his own tower. It's Zillion hurts, man. Zillion hurts huge.
Yeah, and that was actually right as he hit the double bomb. So right as you hit level 3, a lot of times you can go for that aggression, but usually you kind of sit back off of it. And Garthus was already pretty low. Z-Tai didn't even actually have to use the flash, so just walking right up to him.
It's lazy, just is like, nah, you have a bomb. Yeah, I'm just throw these at you. Cruiser taking a few free shots here from Kid. Has to go back to the lane. Has to go back to his tower, drinking down those potions. Illusion. I was like, hey, you guys already did plenty of work here in the mid lane. Not necessary that he needs to start camping out this lane, because right now Z-Tai's in a really good position here. But they're going to see Z-Tai's going to be walking on, porting on back to base, waiting for a signal. We'll see what he picks up. But Illusion actually getting very aggressive here. Out to Sid, comes in with the Q, looking for the steal, forces the flash out. Psycho Sid still does get the big wolf, but has to retreat. He may actually have to go back in a little bit quicker time than he normally would.
Oh, and the Cruiser, he's actually in a dangerous situation here. This is
happening?
something we have seen from IG in the past. I don't know if they have enough damage here. It's going to be pretty scary, but real quick, they actually do take him down. China Annie very close to going down the heel. Oh, boy.
Whoa!
Oh, boy.
How low is he? Single digits. Kid got to single digit health. And on that dive. That is insane.
That's something we've seen from IG a number of times in the past. They go for those really aggressive dives, particularly in those 2v1 lanes. So, it actually turned against them. I'm trying to think of who it was. IG versus M5, I think. And no, it was versus Azubu Frost, maybe in the group stage. Yeah, it was in the group stage, I think, versus Azubu Frost. And IG actually, they dove top lane against Shy, and Shy ended up getting a kill onto Kid. And that's kind of something we've seen from IG a number of times in the past. They go for those really aggressive kills in their AD and support lane, and they just go all out for it. And right off the bat, Nocturne coming in top once again. Really just no fear. Once Vayne gets up there, they're going to try and pressure that.
Z-Tai thrown down to bombs without a care in the world. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's old. Where is he? He can't remember where he left his wallet, but he knows where he's placing his bombs. Right there on top of Link's head, but you do have Skarner there in the mid. Stego said looking to throw a little bit of fear.
Pushed.
But yeah, once those Cruiser knows it. Cruiser, he knows it, but he's hesitant. He's like, do I really want to leave? I know there's no hope. And here comes the Illusion. There's a taunt out. 5-minute, 28-second tier 1 turret at top is gone. And CLG.Black cannot say the same, that they're having as much success here in the bot lane. The tier 1 down bot is only at half. Where you got Zhao looking to face off against Guard. Actually flash with the exhaust. Here comes Illusion with the fear tethers, but Psycho Sid does not have that flash. He used it earlier.
Oh no, the condemn!
But here comes no, that is rather unfortunate, and plenty of time to. You got Karthus with the Wall of Pain, Link right there to help support. But still, though, I mean, this is a huge. Even though you didn't get the kill, this is a huge positional advantage here for IG as they're continuing to push up the top lane, and you have the presence in the enemy jungle to keep Sid from even really assisting all too much.
Oh, they're crushing Cruiser right now. It's really dangerous for him. Vayne can be so aggressive. Getting the triple proc there can just really bully him around. But Z-Tai still putting on the pressure. This is something we saw all weekend from IG, and he's coming down bottom. They have no vision on him. Vladimir, he's only level 5. How close is he to 6? He's actually pretty close, but he can still press the issue, and Z-Tai has his ultimate, so Vladimir's about to go down. It'll be okay. The first kill for that bomb will go on. No! Whoa. Zuna actually lived, and they are actually turning this around. Z-Tai forced to use his cleanse here, and the Karthus ultimate actually turning it around, almost saving him. Zuna, he's not dead.
He's waiting. He's waiting for that 10 seconds. Will he be able to get the deny? I think he's safe, but it's just a matter of, maths. There you go. There's the execute. That is the best possible play Zuna could have made. But it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay for now. You can still get back in the lane. It's a 1K advantage here for IG. It's looking good for them for the time being. We haven't even hit the 10-minute mark yet. Karthus just hit 6. Z-Ty's had quite a bit of a lead on him already, and he's building into that early chalice too, but he doesn't really have a need to go back quite yet. He is very low on mana, but should happen soon. Meanwhile, you got Vlad PD down in bot lane. What did get very low, he decided to stay, farm up a little bit more despite that previous engagement. He now goes back. There's that revolver, there's that sustain. He's going to be coming back in there to lane. He's going to have a little bit of an easier time.
I have to say, I kind of like what CLG.Black's doing right now, despite the fact that IG is just really pulling ahead. They're really being aggressive. CLG.Black, they use the 2 globals, the Karthus and the Shen, and it allows them that global presence.
Sorry.
I was wondering, like, what were we waiting for?
Sorry.
Oh, did you think it was a steal?
No, never mind.
Nope. Okay.
Never mind.
I was imagining a Jaws moment there. So anyway, CLG.Black, we had seen in the past, they'd been, IG, they go incredibly aggressive. They just go for repeated tower dives. They go for repeated kills all across the map. And a lot of times you can punish them for it. And having that global presence, it allows them to punish them for those kills.
Z-Ty here farming up with those bombs. And you got Karthus with his blue buff. Gonna be grabbing those wraiths too, swinging on back around. But now Cruiser back down here. He's gonna give his try here in the bot lane. But unfortunately though, Vlad has got quite a bit of a lead on him. He's been farming significantly better than Shen has there in the top lane. His turret was staying up a little bit longer too. But you have all these creeps here underneath the tower, so Cruiser's going to be at the very least picking those up. But now you have Braves and Blue here in the top lane against a Vayne that's been doing very well. So how do you see this one actually playing out?
It's dangerous. I mean, Vayne's usually not going to abuse the lane. Graves and Lulu is one of the strongest dueling lanes in the game. So Kid, he's probably not going to be that aggressive against them. He's probably not going to be looking to pursue any advantages. But what's going to happen is Vayne is at the very least going to be free farming in this lane. And that's just a serious concern for any team. Once Vayne gets to the point where she can free farm, that's like a known loss.
Karthus in the mid though getting brought down very low, but Cruiser there with the taunt, trying to make something happen here on a PD. There's the Vlad ult coming on in. He is stuck in the pool, but Sid with playing there. But here comes Nocturne. Look at the finish. What the Vlad started. Cruiser's pretty safe there underneath tower. Will Illusion actually go down there? Yes. Psycho Sid grabbing that one. So a 1-1 split evenly, but you got the Shen ult coming in here too onto Link just to get out of that situation. Very well done on the defensive from CLG.Black.
Yeah, that's definitely huge for them to turn that around. That's one of the nice benefits of Skarner also is his mobility. He allows you to get out of those situations. PDD trying to chase down Psycho Sid. He should be able to get out of there as long as he doesn't allow himself to get condemned against the wall. He's going to take a little bit of damage. Not that much of a concern, but Kid. Taking a turret shot, not that big of a deal. And they will actually lose their top lane. So Vlad trying to get up there. I think that Zuna and Bloodwater are going to be able to take it down in time. They should be able to get it with this minion wave. It's going to be really close. No, it actually might live. So we'll see if they decide to tank it at all. Yes, they are going to tank it. So they get that kill or that turret.
Just enough to take it out. And you still have Lulu with all the with the shields and the speed buff too, if necessary. But considering that you got 2 members top lane, and this is the disadvantage for the lane swap too, is that you leave 1 man down here in the bot lane, allowing the free dragon pickup, and IG will take that one without any issue. Karthus is going to see everyone coming back up from the pits like, oh man, they just took Dragon. I'm pretty sure that's what they just did. Cruiser with the taunt to get out of the way of the Vayne bolts. He'll be a very familiar sight for him. He's going to be farming up a tower once again very soon.
Man, it's a shame he didn't see Sona. She was pretty low. Shen taunt with the Karthus ultimate. They maybe could have picked up a kill there, but then he'd have to deal with Vayne. The slow, though, onto Z-Ty with Psycho Sid in pursuit. They should be able to grab this. There's the ult from Z-Ty, but as a team, yeah, they should be able to get this Zuna popping the ultimate. So we'll see if they get the pull here now. Skarner, his ultimate just barely not up, and Z-Ty, he's going to live.
Now it's up, but here comes the Vlad. Going to be using it on him while Vlad is still exhausted. Lulu ult up onto Graves, followed up by the Flash Illusion. Will you go down here? He is out in front. The bomb doing quite a bit of damage after the follow through, but here's the Karthus ult. It is still only level 1, not enough damage to really get a kill onto that one. But still, though, pretty good for CLG.Black. They're looking to come back into this. They're still 1K behind, but now you see they're all grouping up mid. They're trying to force these fights. They're trying to get what they can, and they do have quite a bit of good abilities at their disposal to try and turn around these fights.
Yeah, and CLG.Black, they're only 1K down right now. So a lot of times you see IG, and we had seen that this past weekend, but also the previous qualifier, they look for early advantages and they try to snowball the game very aggressively. Vayne hasn't had that opportunity to snowball. I mean, she's not really a snowballing champ. That being said, 105 CS on Vayne, never a good thing to see. So, you know, IG, even though they haven't run away with this game yet, they put themselves in a great situation to win. And Vladimir as well. You know, we kind of talked about Shen. He does very well against Vladimir early on, but if Vladimir gets off to a good start, then Vladimir can bully around any bruiser.
There you go. The flash is being forced out. After looking for some damage over by the tower. You also notice too here on the Vayne build, no going Doran's list actually, so it's going to be a significantly squishier Vayne than normal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a risky play. Actually, you know what? No, quick for yourself. It's a very risky play to be going on Vayne with that little health.
And it's particularly when you're going up against a team that has really, you know, close range AoE abilities. Karthus, Vayne's, you know, potentially going to be at a serious threat there, going up against the Karthus wall that could completely shut down Vayne. Skarner's going to be an issue for Vayne, and Vayne didn't go with that cleanse. So that's usually the common pickup, is going with that cleanse. So, you know, cleanse, it doesn't work for the Skarner pool, but it would help versus Lulu, it would help versus Shen, it would help versus Karthus. So all these champions, and not having that HP, like you said, you know, Vayne's just going to drop very quickly. It's going to be about 3-lay waste in those main team fights onto Vayne, and Karthus will be able to pick up the kill, and that's a really dangerous situation.
But you do still have the summoner heal on the Vayne to try and make up for, you know, some of the health lost, but that's, you know, assuming you actually get to use it. You can't use summoner heal if you're being taunted or pulled or a squirrel even. It's going to be a little bit rough, so hopefully she does not get jumped on, and hopefully Kid will be a little more careful. But we did see those risky plays earlier, top lane, getting away from the tower dive with single-digit health. And we've seen IG does have the skill. Kid's a pretty damn good AD. We'll see what he does with it here. And Cruiser, now, you know, I think Cruiser's just happy at this point that he doesn't have to farm underneath the tower.
Yeah, no, he's going to be fine in that 1v1 situation. But I don't know, it would be nice to get Shen kind of farmed up. And right now, IG, they're playing kind of passively because they know Skarner has that Oracles, and this is exactly what they don't want to allow happen. Sona walking right into the pool. Even when she gets off the ultimate, it's still not going to work out for her. So quick kill, yeah.
Ult for ult, and that is, you know, that is the interaction between some of the ults when you have them used simultaneously in a situation like that. Turns out everyone just sits still, and does plenty of time for Shen to come on up. Cruiser grabbing that kill. He desperately needs that extra XP and gold too, so good for him. Zitai getting slowed here in the mid, being caught behind the wall.
Nocturne could engage on Zuna though.
Oh, his ult is up. He could go straight, but here comes Psycho Sid. He does not have the ult, but Shen does. Coming on, and will he get the taunt? Yes, he will. The ult used on Zillion. Using it on himself. He will be back in just a second. Wallbang coming back up temporarily. A squirrel. There you go. You got the ult on the Skarner too for a little bit extra health. Wonderful coordination from CLG.Black.
I mean, IG, you know, CLG.Black, they did a really nice job there, but IG, Vladimir could have been involved in that fight, and instead, Vladimir decided to leave. I think part of the issue was that Vladimir, he felt he was at this choke point, so he felt he was kind of cut off. If he had fought, he maybe would have gone down. Illusion getting caught off by Link, who's trying to get the kill, but actually the tower shots are going to hurt him pretty badly. But Illusion, he does go down. Psycho Sid picks that up. And so Vladimir, he actually could have gotten like a triple kill in that fight, but instead he left. He went to go farm top, and I don't know, his team, you know, they fell because of it.
Now, though, he's still got his ghost available. He's popping it, throws down the ult down onto Zuna. He is also ignited, but he's gone. He may not be getting a triple, but he's at least going to be getting one. Still better than nothing, but then again, you did lose a tower for that one. Not the best trade in the world.
They might get the mid tower, though, so there's no one to defend this mid turret. They're going to drop it pretty quickly. Zillion's coming down as well. Stops over by the Wraiths for a second, but this should allow Vladimir and Sona to pick this up, and we'll see if they decide to tank it. Vladimir, he can heal a little bit. Sona's actually taking it, so there you go. They pick up the mid turret. 3 turrets down for both teams, so 3-3 right now.
Yeah, Sona, you're to support. You do it. Zhao is more than happy to oblige. But look at that Dragon, though. You see most members from IG. They're sticking around this bot area. So Dragon should be coming up in just a little bit. Zitai with the double bomb, taking the Wraith camp, and Bloodwater peeks in, knows what has just been going on. Nocturne coming on back in. He does have the ult back up. Vayne has not really moved a whole lot from bot lane, but is looking to mobilize back down into the river. Dragon is now up and ready for the taking, but Black knows that they need to do something about this.
Yeah, no, they should be able to defend this, but the concern is that they don't get themselves cut off. They do have pretty good vision here. They're assuming someone's there. Psycho Sid walking in, almost picks them up. Sona also being zoned off a little bit, and that Oracles has been huge for Psycho Sid so far. Are they actually going to go for it?
I think they are.
And Link, he has plenty of damage, and then actually the wall, it's able to zone off the entire IG team right now.
But that wall paint cannot last forever. It is down. Dragon's at half. Here comes the Nocturnal coming on in. Sona too, but CLG.Black does still manage to grab that Dragon. You got the ult from Lu down onto Shen. You got Kid very low, but does have the Zillion ult. Does not get, is getting revived actually right now. But in the meantime, you do have Vlad going down. Double kill. Karthus still managed to pick up the Vayne kill. Zillion doing pretty well himself, but Sona will be caught behind. And will be the last one here. This should be an A support fight coming on in. But Bloodwater will win that one. Wonderful exchange. Wonderful exchange.
Yeah, CLG.Black just bullying them around, and I don't know, it was kind of surprising to see IG in that kind of situation. Part of the issue is that Vayne did go down pretty early. They weren't able to get the pressure on the Vayne. And then Illusion, he was trying to put pressure onto the backline, you know, and try and steal that Dragon in particular. But it actually, CLG.Black, they did a nice job cushioning him. So they're able to collapse onto Nocturne, and then also, you know, have this really nasty AoE that all of IG was walking into. And I don't know, it was the Karthus first and foremost. Karthus with the Shen up front tanking for him, and CLG.Black, they have just a really strong team at this point in the game.
Sona has bought up in Oracles to bring back into lane. Has not used it yet though. Just gonna be saving it for a special occasion. But you see now the wards being stacked up here on both teams. They realize they need to get ready. You also got a red elixir being purchased here onto Zuna, so he's gonna have that little bit extra health, a little bit extra oomph in that shotgun. He's also looking to finish a Phantom Dancer too, to go along with the Bloodthirster he's already gotten. And you also look at Vlad to go for the cooldown boots along with the Spirit Visage, wants to be healthy, wants to stay healthy, and almost has enough gold to finish off that Woda.
And honestly, Graves right now is the #1 strength for CLG.Black, and that was kind of a concern going in. It was kind of like, all right, so what's going to happen? You know, you're playing Zuna versus one of the best AD carries in the game. You know, we've seen how strong, you know, Kid can be at times, and actually Psycho Sid with the ward, he's able to come steal that blue.
Nice.
But so you're playing against a really strong AD carry. The concern is positioning in team fights. You want to be confident as an AD carry to constantly get off your damage, but not get picked off. And that was a concern for both AD carries. Both of them are playing short-range AD carries. But Graves at this point, with the gold advantage he has from all those kills, and then also, you know, with the early strength of Graves, he's a little bit stronger early game than Vayne is. He can just completely control those fights. He's going to be able to AoE them. He's going to be able to just pick up kills left and right and try and snowball these team fights for CLG.Black.
So right now it's a 3K lead in terms of gold for CLG.Black, and the kills are heavily swinging into their favor at this point. And this is the thing too, like this is one of the beauties of Shen though, is that you do have the possibility open for the split push later on in the game. He does have the ultimate up, but he is choosing to back right now. What is he going to be picking up? He could finish off those Merc Treads, and he does. He still got his 2 GP10s, and that Sunfire is going to help him out immensely going on forward. I'm also noticing, too, Illusion, he hasn't been having the greatest game in the world.
Yeah.
He's 0-4-2, hasn't even finished his Brutalizer yet, but you look at the other side, you look at Scar, you look at Sid, 1-1-9. Still has the Oracles, I believe.
Well, and they don't have a frontline bruiser to take damage off of Vayne and Vladimir. And that was kind of the issue with the previous fight. You know, the Zillion revive does help them out, but Nocturne, he's going to drop very quickly in these fights. And then all of a sudden, their main damage dealers are just really vulnerable to that frontline damage from CLG.Black. And it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they're going to deal with that. Shen, in the meantime, just aggressively split pushing, just like you had mentioned. And that's a serious issue for them. While Zuna, with that red buff, is he going to go in on Illusion? He can drop him very quickly here. Taking the duel. The Fear will, no, just barely not proc.
No. Oh, ultimate does get spell shielded at the last possible second. But that will be forced by the fight. But here comes the Karthus ult. He doesn't have the shield up anymore, and that will be a quick, easy kill for Link. Press R, win game, no big deal. And Baron is being frantically pinged by CLG.Black, and is there. There's no way really that IG can contest this unless they get a lucky shot off somehow.
Yeah, Vayne trying to farm bottom, trying to prevent Shen from being too aggressive, but it's resulting in a 5v3 for CLG.Black, and there's really no way that they're going to go in on this. So CLG.Black, they pick up the Baron very quickly, and that just goes along with their lead. So 5K gold advantage versus Invictus Gaming, and this is, you know, just kind of surprising considering what we've seen out of, you know, the Chinese powerhouse in the past. But I don't know, maybe underestimating CLG.Black a little bit. We talked about it coming in, how they had the potential to underestimate them some. They also had the potential to be playing down after their loss at Worlds. It's a really high energy situation. You're tired. They've been traveling for long distances, and I don't know. As a result, they're kind of falling behind here. Who knows? Any number of these factors could factor in. It could just be that CLG.Black is looking pretty impressive.
Yep. And to add on to that too, we mentioned last time that this was a first round matchup. This is a round of 32 matchup during qualifier number 3, and it was a stomp on IG's end. But maybe CLG.Black has learned a few things since then. They actually did a really good job doing what they could to counteract all the early aggression. They never got too far behind. The gold lead for IG never really got past 1,000 gold. They got quick towers, granted, but that did leave an opportunity for CLG.Black to sit back and farm up, and now they have the Baron. Now they got a 5K lead. Now they've more than doubled them up in kills, and things are looking okay, pretty good for the next few minutes.
Yeah, and Vladimir actually went with a kind of a laning build. And it does make him a little bit tankier. Yeah. That's going to help him some. But I don't know, they really need to get some nice AoE damage on Vladimir. He needs to get deep into his build, and that's really just all they're looking for. IG's looking to hold off until they get deep in their builds, particularly once Vladimir he hits that Rabadons. That'll really help them out a lot. But the concern is already how deep CLG.Black is into their builds. So we'll see how aggressive CLG.Black can be with this. They've already wasted half of their Baron. I mean, I'm not to say they've wasted it, but they've been able to farm. They've been able to take slight leads as a result of it. And they are going to be able to get the dragon here, but they haven't really made any aggressive pushes. And I think part of that is they're concerned with the poke from Zilean, and they're concerned about clumping for that AoE from Vladimir.
Yeah, and they're also, they also got to IG coming down in. They were hesitant for a second. They remembered what happened last time. They went into going for that dragon, but they managed to force them off here, at least for now. No, he's like, hey, we got 3 members down there. We can probably force them out, and they were right. Karthus could not close the gap, and Shen is split pushing, though. He's been top lane this entire time.
It's not often you see a team lose the dragon when they have Baron, though.
Yeah.
To be able to be forced off of that. And then Graves actually using his ultimate as well. So for a full minute, they're not going to want to fight. And that's kind of interesting. CLG.Black, they have a nice advantage here, and they're not looking to push it. They're looking to farm themselves. I'm sure they would like to get Karthus in the game. I think for the most part, they want to get Link to that Rabadon's area. Because then you have the drastic increase on his ultimate. And he did hit 16. So they wanted to make sure they got that. But here it goes, making that push right at the last second. Zuna almost taking down PDD, actually. Will back off. There's Karthus. The ultimate. Oh.
No, there's that summoner heal we were talking about before. But Wall Pain, though, still up and present here in the mid lane, keeping IG back. But the damage will be more than enough to take out that mid tier 2. And the push continues not only in mid, but once again, still here in top. You got Cruiser doing his own thing, looking to try and put some damage on the tier 2 in top. Just on his own. His ult is up. He can join the team whenever. But you do have a Nocturne there. So if he manages to get feared in mid-ult, if Illusion manages to catch him, that could be disastrous. But the odds of that happening, not too very likely at this point.
Yeah, they have to worry about the Skarner pull, though. And, Shen, Nocturne, they can duel out up top. That's not going to be that big of a concern.
Yeah, they can do whatever.
But Psycho Sid, if he gets the pull onto either Vayne or Vladimir, that's going to be brutal for them. And he's actually taking the turret here with his shield, along with Lulu's shield. Not really that much of a concern. They have the Baron regen. Zuna also has that Bloodthirster, and that protects them against some of the poke from Zilean. But already, because they started this push so late, their Baron is down, and Nocturne, he's in position. He's waiting for that Baron to drop. It did just drop.
There it is.
And he's kind of keying in on both lanes right now.
It's just a matter of, where is he going to go? If you go trying to dive in here, right on into the mid, though, like if you're trying to dive in on Karthus, that could be a little disastrous. Then you mentioned before, too, when you have a squishy champ, someone like Vayne, when you try and focus in on someone like a Karthus, especially at this point in the game, when you're hitting mid-game, because that AoE damage is just going to blow someone up if you're not prepared. You do have the cloak, though, onto Vayne to try and mitigate some of that, but still, though, you usually see a little bit of extra health onto Vayne, and we're not seeing that quite yet.
But you can see with how aggressively they were able to push that mid turret, how it's kind of surprising that they didn't go a little bit sooner, that they waited until the very end of that Baron buff, because they almost took the turret. The Nocturne initiation followed up by the Vladimir. They get some really nice AoE damage.
Where is Shen going, though? I hope he's ulting in. A little bit difficult to see here, but he does actually come in through the back. Bloodwater's still staying alive somehow, but here comes the Karthus ult, even though he's trying to get those kills from death. death, and Vayne going down also. Sona very low. Z-Tai had to get the hell out of that one. CLG.Black looking very good here. They want more kills. There's a triple coming in from Zuna. And you got the ace coming in from Cruiser to Bruiser. Down here, the bot tier 2 will fall shortly after that. Let's take a quick look back. And you got the Lulu ult up on the Karthus and the Shen ult. That's it. Let's keep the Karthus alive as long as possible for more damage. Here comes the ult, and you see Kid flash horizontally into just more damage.
Yeah, Vayne was kind of zoned by Karthus, and that's the concern, is that Karthus is able to dive right into that backline. I'm surprised, honestly, that Zuna didn't go down, though. And Vladimir and Nocturne were pressuring Graves, but Graves is just so strong at this point, it didn't matter. Once Nocturne was down, the lifesteal was too much, and as a result, they were able to win that fight. It was really Karthus zoning the entire team for IG, and then Zuna in the backline, you know, being as aggressive as he was. So they get the inhibitor out of that, and that's the significant advantage that CLG.Black has been looking for that's going to allow them to win this game.
So now retreating, gonna have no, Shen's supposed to be taking that one, and there you go. There's plenty of damage to take down the tower too, but they can't stick along. They can't stick around for as long because IG, they are respawning. They cannot take the inhib just yet. But with the tower down, that is the option later on. Baron should actually be coming up, you know, not too far away, but less than a minute or so. But IG knows they're looking to mobilize. They are getting their work coverage up out in front of the pit. And let's see what actually everyone bought. You got a Trinity onto the Shen. You'd have that death cap, got plenty of damage onto Karthus. Shirelia's picked up onto Skarner too. It's always a fantastic help to have. And then you got that QSS onto Graves. That's going to help him out immensely from those fears and from that extra damage.
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be, I don't know, kind of the seal the deal thing for Graves.
It is.
Vayne finally has the Bloodthirsters. That's really going to help, but you know, the fact that they can't put any pressure on Graves, and Graves is as strong as he is, 7-2 and 7. He's just a monster right now, and that's really dangerous for them. The fact that Graves is going to be able to single-handedly win the fights, basically, as Karthus zones off the rest of IG.
Yep, and when you have an AD where they have enough farm to get to a point where they can afford to get that QSS on top of the build, or a GA on top of their build, that's when you know you're in trouble, because you know that, hey, well, the damage part of their build is pretty much done. The fact that they can afford to go defensive like this just so they can stay in the fight. Very big threat, very big problem to deal with. You got Shen, he's going to be looking to go down, well, he's going around the long way, looking to rejoin the rest of the team in mid. That mid inhibitor is actually looking pretty tasty for CLG.Black. They may want to consider going in for it. But Baron is up, pings are going down, and a little bit of vision actually back in the base. You saw Nocturne looking to take out those creeps. Z-Tai getting caught here on the side of the jungle. Cruiser with a bomb still on him, but it's okay because the rest of the team is back here taking Baron. Familiar sight for IG, and I think like Sona the same place, but it's like, oh, we know we're taking, there's a ward. Have a ward. And again, IG's just going to let this one go.
Yeah, there's not a lot that they can do at this point. They know how significantly behind they are from CLG.Black. It's a 11K gold lead. That's massive. So they sit back. They try and farm, but it's really I don't know. There's not a lot of hope for this in this game for IG. IG's just so far behind right now. They really need to just kind of sit back and wait till the next game. Shen's going to be pushing up the top lane. CLG.Black should be able to grab this inhibitor fairly easily. The only concern for CLG.Black is if they clump up in the Vlad AoE, and if Vlad's able to take down Karthus and Graves, then that could work out for them. Like, really, they need to just take down Graves. If they can kill Zuna, then they're going to be able to win a fight. But they haven't been able to get the pressure, and Zuna's a god right now, basically.
And there's the wall of fame, too, to add up on top of the godlike powers of the man with the shotgun. You got Shen still pushing up top lane. The mid inhibitor goes down to match the bot one. There goes the tier 2. Now all 5 members of CLG.Black up here in top, looking to get this last outer tower. Wall of Pain once again splitting the team. Vlad out on the front end of that. The tower is down to about a quarter. Just need a little bit more damage. Duck in and out, and you could get it. That Baron buff is still going to be up for quite a while. We saw Skarner actually tank the turret earlier with his innate shields. He's going to be doing that once again here. 1, 2, 3. There goes the top tier 3. And this inhibitor should be going down shortly as well. Here comes a Vlad ult. They want the initiation back line. You got Nocturne coming out in, does not get the fear. And there is the Lulu ult on top of Graves, and he's going to look to clean everything up.
Yeah, he's perfectly safe in the backline. Zuna, there's no pressure on him at all. And even though Kid is looking pretty good, the Karthus ultimate's going to do some damage, and then Zuna's easily going to take him down. Psycho Sid with the late Skarner pull. I didn't even realize it was down still. But actually, IG, they turned it around.
They did. There was a little bid of a, I think,
3 for 0. It's the Zillion ult.
Yeah, there was a little bit of miscommunication there with the Scar, but you got the double kill coming in. You got Kid actually finishing up on there. Let's go back. Where did things go? You had the Sona ult getting Zuna and Bloodwater both on the back line. Karthus out in front with the dealing damage. There's the Zillion ult coming up onto Vayne. Still on the outskirts.
You see the entire fight, Zuna. We were talking about earlier on how that is the key to this game. How effectively Zuna can be positioning in these team fights, whether or not he can get the damage off. And you saw the entire fight, Kid was just sitting there constantly dealing damage. Even when he was dealing with the Karthus AoE. Zuna, on the other hand, they were kiting. They were kiting Zuna so effectively, and he could never deal any damage. He was chasing Vladimir the entire fight and never actually caught up to him. So they missed out on their fed 80 carries damage.
I can't help but think, though, that if Sid held on to that ultimate, if he just didn't, because that was essentially a wasted ultimate on the Vayne. You were already stuck in the AoE. You're going to go down. I think it's understandable you'd want to guarantee that kill. Right. But you knew the revive was coming. You knew it was going to happen on somebody.
I think they got excited. They knew that Graves was full health. They were like, all right, Graves is full health. We're going to be able to win this fight. That's usually the case when you have an 80 carry at this point in the game, when they're this far ahead of the enemy.
Yeah,
but you're right. You know,
it sucks. It's just unfortunate, though. It's just it happens. Miscommunication happens, and I'm sure that if it was held on to, that may have actually been a kill. I mean, I like to think that it would have been, but only time will tell here. You got not to say this is completely over for CLG.Black either. They're still in a fantastic position.
No, it's just wild. It's almost a comeback from IG. IG has been so far behind this entire time. Psycho Sid coming up on the Sona forces off the flash, and they're going to be able to push in. 2 inhibitors are up.
Vayne's not with the team.
Vayne's not there, and that's a really dangerous situation for them. And not only that, but Zuna, he can position himself again. He gets a second chance here.
There you go, Psycho Sid in the back. He will not be getting the impale onto anyone. It is up, but chooses not to use it. And recognizing that Vayne is with the team, CLG.Black is actually going to go ahead and back off. That Vlad ult, on top of everything, did a little bit too much damage. I think a little bit more than they were expecting. But they do go back, they do start to bulk up a little bit more. Vayne now, after that last fight, now has 2 Phantom Dancers, along with that little bit of defensive build on Negatron Cloak. Lots of death caps being seen in this game. You got 3 of them. But we'll see what builds in from there. He's going to be a very late Yomu's too here for Illusion, but he's been still trying to scrape by when he can. He has that Aegis Brutalizer and the Havris play too. But you look at the gold income coming in from the other jungler. You got Skarner. He has an Oracles on the back end just in case he needs it. Frozen Heart too is going to help immensely against that Vayne, plus the Randuin's coming in from Shen.
And Vladimir, like you said, single-handedly stalled them that last fight.
Yes.
Without the Baron, because they had lost the previous fight, they didn't have the regen to deal with that kind of poke. They couldn't engage again after they were that low. So the key is not grouping up, not allowing Vladimir to get in on them, and then trying to split. They want to get a nice split where Karthus is right in the front line, and then Zuna's in the back, constantly dealing damage. You see him already getting that poke on, trying to wear them down a little bit, but they're just going to slowly wear in. Yeah. This is about the last wave. They're about to, the mid inhibitor is going to be up shortly as well. So CLG.Black, they need to make their move now.
There you go. The wall pain goes down, and as Nocturne's going to go on in. Yeah, got Kid out on the outskirts. Here's the Lulu. Everyone's nice and clumped up. The Skarner pull, bringing it back to Vlad. If you just get out of that damn pool, you got the ult going down onto Vayne. Will revive, but in a little bit better situation here. Shen ult coming on in. Zeta actually flashes over the wall right into the Graves' face. Karthus does eventually go down, but here comes the ult. Sona will not be making it back. Just taunt right in front of you. That is the king taunt. When you taunt someone, go in front of them and never actually hit them. But there's a double kill coming in, and that is the ace. And I think CLG.Black is ready to wrap this one up.
Yeah, that's GG. They're able to take this. So IG making a valiant effort, making that last stand. almost able to turn it around, but in that last fight, Kid, he was trying to be very aggressive. In particular, he was trying to take down Graves.
Yeah.
And he went down early, so he got right into the back line of CLG.Black, and that's kind of the interesting thing, where a lot of times as an AD, we talked about the positioning. You want to get off that damage, so trying to get off the damage, it actually pulled him out of position. It pulled Vayne out of position, and so they were able to take that. Look at this, Link, he actually has the IG logo for him, so he's kind of rooting for the enemy there, but really impressive game by CLG.Black, taking the early advantages, though they have to be scared right now, because IG, they know how impressive of a team IG is, and for them to have lost that one fight when they were ahead almost 15k gold is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That's got to be scary to know that IG are that strong in team fights.
Well, you're definitely right about the fear thing, and it wasn't even just that fight. I mean, remember also CLG.Black being pushed off of Baron when Dragon. They were being pushed off of Dragon with the Baron buff. And it's that mental game that IG is playing. It's like, knowing what happened last time you met, knowing that it's like you're going up against a world-class team, you're going up against one of the best in China.
Yeah.
Playing at a ping disadvantage, by the way. It's a mind trip. And yeah, the fear absolutely shows. It absolutely shows. But I would hope that game one win relieves some of it.
Yeah, no, that is going to be interesting to see how CLG.Black does in these next games. See how IG responds, because IG by the end of the game, you could see they were starting to get into a little bit more of a rhythm. Vayne was finally strong enough to deal with them, but I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting. I think the Shen and Karthus picks, I'm not sure that they'll allow CLG.Black to get them, because those are both brutal picks. They both were very successful against them, and that added a lot to Graves' success. I think Vayne would have been fine versus Graves if it weren't for the fact that the Shen and Karthus, it prevented IG from that early aggression, and that's what IG's always been known for. They go for those early kills. They just roam around the map, kind of like TPA, and they look for those early fights. They look for those tower dives and those kills. Shen and Karthus completely shut that down. So, we'll see what they do for that next game.
Yeah, and IG, they will be on first pick coming on into the next game. And we've seen a lot of their favorite play champs. You have the Shen, you have the Ezreal, Skarner, Vladimir, Yorick. They're going to be getting one of their top-tier champs first pick, absolutely,
that's
for sure.
True.
It's just a matter of which one they're going to get or which one CLG.Black allows them to get. Not Ezreal.
Yeah, that's
not Ezreal.
There's a couple of good ones, but
never Ezreal. Well, maybe Ezreal.
Maybe a little bit.
It's actually it's actually the most likely, though. It's probably the most likely.
The issue is Kid is unbelievable at Ezreal. That's his #1 champion. We've seen it so many times in the past. He's so aggressive with Ezreal, and more importantly, he knows exactly how he can trade damage with Ezreal in lane. He was very impressive as Vayne as well. We saw early advantages for them there, but he knows exactly the trade advantages. And so a lot of times we'll see, level 2, they dive in for a kill as Ezreal. And it's not just that they're looking to be aggressive and get kills. It's that he knows, when he should win matchups, when he has that trade advantage. So,
and he definitely knows the trade advantage considering the Vayne play we saw this past game too, which was absolutely stellar. But hey, we'll see what they do. Game number 2, Invictus Gaming versus CLG.Black. IPL5 qualifier number 4, the last one for the NA. IG's playing at a ping disadvantage too, but they're still looking pretty strong. We'll be back in just a little bit, so do please stay tuned.